After hearing the recent news that Gord Downie of TheTragically Hip has terminal cancer, I've seen a similar sentiment expressed amongst my fellow Canadians, which is saying goodbye to TheTragically Hip hits a lot deeper to many of us than the loss of other great artists. It got me thinking about why this band is so interwoven in the fabric of our country's culture. And I realize the majority of you are not Canadians, so to you guys, I hope this video shines a little light on what it is we get up to in this big cold country. And to my fellow countrymen, I hope you guys can in some way relate to what I'm saying. Like I said, based on my YouTube analytics, I know that most of you guys come from different countries around the globe. And as such, I would imagine that many of you have never heard of the band TheTragically Hip, a group often referred to as the Canadian Beatles. They're a unique group in the sense that they're one of the most popular rock bands of all time here that never really saw much of a following anywhere else. Possibly because so much of their lyrical content is pure Canadiana. I think you have to look a little bit at us to understand why we so wholeheartedly embrace this band. There's a bit of a dichotomy in the Canadian entertainment industry. On one hand, we're encouraged to maintain our unique cultural identity, while also trying to fit in on a global and American scale. Case in point, Canadian pop country music. Never have I heard such southern drawls come from such northern dwelling people. Many of our best and brightest will head down to the richer pastures of America. I don't blame them, I have friends who've done this, and one day I might do it as well. It's understandable, the size of Canada's population is smaller than that of the state of California. Being a star here means a moderate and comfortable lifestyle, whereas being a star in the States means that you're living pretty large. Also, it gets real cold in the winter. Though we have had Canadians who've gone on to do great things on the global scale, the size of our entertainment industry makes that somewhat difficult. If someone from another country were to ever bring up a Canadian band with me, I think I would likely remind them that that band is in fact from the Great White North. On the other hand, it seems slightly ridiculous to imagine an American fellow saying, "Oh yeah, Michael Jackson, did you know he's American?" It's just kind of assumed that a lot of the stars are from the US, which is why we like to remind people that we do have some great global exports. Looking at you, Shania Twain, you do impress me much. Now all this makes sense when you consider that the majority of entertainment that Canadians consume does come from down south. And the relationship between our two countries I like to compare to a loving brotherly bond. To those who don't know us that well, we look pretty similar. We get along well in most respects, there's a little bit of healthy teasing, but in a way we're living in the shadow of our big brother who's gone on to accomplish so many great things. So when there is something that we're really proud of, we fully embrace it. Which brings me to TheTragically Hip. Here's a band that tried to be nothing else than what they truly are, a bunch of buds from Kingston, Ontario. Their culture is all over their music and they do it very, very well. The sound is musically distinct and to me, it just sounds like home. TheTragically Hip influenced every generation of Canadian musician that followed them. They laid the mold for Canadian rock and roll as we hear it today. The thing that makes them stand out from other Canadian stars like Rush, Neil Young, Justin Bieber, is that their music really encapsulates a Canadian experience. Reading through the comments online in the wake of Gord's illness, I saw a similar sentiment. Here's a couple comments that I've paraphrased. The song Bob Cajun always brings me back to the summer days when me and my dad would fish out at Lake of the Woods. Bob Cajun being a song about a lake town in Ontario of the same name. I remember sitting in the driveway early one December morning before hockey. My dad was scraping the ice off the windshield as 50 Mission Cap came on the radio. This song being a tribute to a defenseman from the Toronto Maple Leafs. And lastly, I'll always remember the first time I saw the Canadian prairies. The words that came to mind, at the 100th meridian, where the Great Plains begin. Which of course is a well-known lyric from the band. See, the Hip captured the Canadian condition and turned it into great rock and roll music. I don't think any other band did this so well, so consistently. Which makes this sad news so much more personal. Losing TheTragically Hip is losing something that's part of my national identity, part of who I am. And I think many Canadians can relate to this. And get this, in the same press conference that revealed Gord's illness, they also announced that they're going to be doing one big farewell tour. And what a great message to go out on. Boys, times might be hard, but you gotta get out there, do what you do best, give her hard, and always keep your stick on the ice. Thank you guys for watching. Now, Canada isn't perfect, but I truly love it and I'm proud to call it home. I hope you've learned something about us, and if you want to hear more from TheTragically Hip, I would recommend their 1989 full-length debut, Up to Here. And if you have a chance to see them on their last tour, I would highly recommend that as well. I'm Samurai Guitarist, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you again soon.